Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Abby Hagyard. This is my little tiny corner of the world. Mom is over there. Care Bears are over there. they're everywhere. And I have, I've been having some wonderful conversations with people recently. As we get closer and closer to the largest group of holidays all jammed together, um, you notice something happening to people, and that is that they're trying to maintain the momentum of, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. The thing is, it's been, oh my gosh, this is so exciting since October. and and we're all getting a little tired of exciting because it drains us of so much of our energies that we're supposed to be using on a lot of things at the same time. So, for those of you just joining us, because I've been seeing some jumps in numbers from the LinkedIn area, which is amazing, and thank you, is I decided a couple of years ago that I would do these videos twice a week, partly because I was bringing myself back from a kind of a self-imposed exile while I started my publishing business. And I was very busy mentoring people and talking about writing and talking about speaking once you've got a book and all that. And then I realized that what I truly missed, and I mean deeply, truly missed, was the opportunity to be engaged with, in person with people who are kind of running out of steam and kind of don't know where they put the button for it and how to get it back. So I've done some of these Comic Con events so people can say, oh my gosh, it's Mom, kind of thing, or the Care Bears. Mostly, though, just to reconnect with people who enjoyed the work that I did before the publishing happened. So I was doing a lot of stage work, and I was doing a lot of coaching of young actors. I had two theater schools for a while. I had a talent variety show, and then I was also working as an actor, as a writer. So there was a lot going on. And then, as often happens in show business, it's busy and the waves are thing, and all of a sudden, calm, nothing. And so you need to go away so that they can miss you. You need to go away so you can come back with a fresh look at what you meant to do and meant to say back then, only how we're applying it now. Because go away for a week, it's no big deal, but go away for 6 months and things change. Go away for a year, go away for 3 years. I was commuting back and forth between a city in Canada called Montreal and Ottawa every month for almost 15 years in order that I could do the publishing quietly and privately. And good morning, Maggie. And so that I could also do the public appearances and the talking with people and staying engaged. And then, that came to an end, and now I'm back full time. And so the priorities are reversed. Now I have a show, I have a coaching program, I'm working live more often, and the publishing is just quietly chugging along on the sidelines. And which is kind of the way I like it, because the publishing thing is a very personal, very quiet exercise in figuring out how to take what's in your head and in your heart and get it out there on a printed page so that we can all look at it and we can all think about it and we can all decide if it's helpful, right? So the whole thing is always about mentoring and guiding. It's just depends on the platform that I'm doing it on. Back in the 1960s, there was a Canadian, a man named Marshall McLuhan, and he was cutting edge in terms of television, and he coined a phrase that is very interesting because I'm hearing it coming back again with the AI, and the phrase is, "The medium is the message." So his definition of medium would have been the platform. So if it's print, then how it looks on the page is what the message looks like and how we receive it. If it's radio, it's how we hear it and receive it. If it's television, then we're at show and tell. Now, if we're going into internet, if we're going into digital, if we're going into the use of, good morning, Freddie, if we're going into the use of all these technologies, these bring different kinds of requirements. You know, if you're on TikTok, it's a whole lot different than YouTube. If you're doing some of these social shopping, where you're telling the story, you're actually pitching the product, and then you can buy now. So every single one of these things is a platform, is a medium, and the medium shapes the way we give and receive the message. So quite often when we are overwhelmed, quite often when we take on too much, quite often when we forget how many hats we have said, oh yeah, sure, I can do that, we forget how much time that takes, how much time between each hat it takes to rethink and reset. When you're a sibling, you're wearing a different hat than if you're the general manager of a business. First of all, your siblings have no intention of taking you seriously because they knew you when. Like, that's just for starters. So we forget that every time we put on a different hat, it pulls more energy from us. And working with my close people, I have to keep reminding them, and they have to keep reminding me, okay, enough now. How many things have you done in quick succession today? And you stop and you think, oh, right. Because there is something out there called the law of diminishing returns. And that is, the longer you do it, the less you're able to give or get. So the message today, how do you juggle your now and your next priorities? Because we are getting right up there. The Christmas party, the holiday parties are on, right? And the special events are on, and the special sales are on, and the house parties are happening, and people are deciding to go and look at, decorations and displays around town. And oh, there's a concert. And we want to fit in everything because we don't want to miss anything. And while we're doing that, we are in the moment forgetting that we just did Thanksgiving. We just did Halloween. And in 3, 2, 1, we're going to be doing New Year's Eve, which means that the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all the way up to the 10th of January, basically we're going to be lying face down. Because here's the thing, the world doesn't stop because we're overtired. The world doesn't stop because we stayed out too late. The world keeps going. And the people who weren't involved in the celebration, you made a promise and they have an expectation. So the conversation today is, how do we juggle those things? How do we balance them? And I have a couple of ideas. I have a couple of tools that I share with all of my coaching clients, all of my mentorees, in order that they can stay on track more easily, more automatically, right? So give me a second. I had a wonderful lunch yesterday with a longtime friend, and we were teasing the people who own and run the restaurant. And halfway through our lunch, the waiter walked in, who was from Australia, and he was a fan of the show. You Can't That on Television was their #1 children's show down there for longer and bigger than up here. And he just sort of stopped and had a moment because we had met once before, but it's still, in his brain, I'm on television and I'm wearing that outfit, right? That one right there. So to see me kind of as a civilian is a blink worthy for him. So here's the thing about how we juggle now and next. The first thing we forget, and I've been working with Maggie recently, and she goes through it with me all the time. The first thing we forget is that there's only 24 hours in a day. And at the end of the 24 hours, we don't get a do-over, right? Like, if we have time left, we don't have time left. We manage somehow to fill every 24 hours completely to the brim. No more, no less. And what it doesn't occur to people is that when we get in the habit of filling those hours the way we do, because it's just natural habit, how long does it take you to get ready once you get up? How long does it take you to, make the bed? How long does it take you to get the coffee ready? Are you taking a lunch? Do you navigate yourself to work? Do you work at home? Does somebody come for you? How long does it take to transition from those things? Yeah, is there stuff you have to do for the house? Did you make a list? Do you have to stop on the way home and get stuff? That's going to be an errand. How much time are you spending at work? How much road rage took up your day? All of this stuff, making a meal, eating a meal, cleaning up after a meal, all of that factors into how you fill your day, right? But that's just the you hat. That's the you. You're the one behind the wheel. You're also the employee once you get to work, but until you walk through the door, you're still just you. The minute you walk through the door, you now have two hats that you're wearing. There's still you, but on top of that, there's professional you. And there's all kinds of demands made on professional you that are time consuming, and they're energy vampires, right? And so how do you maintain your energy? When you take a coffee break or a lunch break, do you actually take that break? Or do you stay at your desk? Or do you bring your phone and do you spend the time scrolling? Do you spend the time catching up? Or do you just say, I'm off the clock for tick, 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 and give your brain a chance to say, now then, where was I? Because the next people you speak to, well, they've been waiting and they're excited. They're going to see you for the first time today. You've been seeing you since you woke up. You're all over that. They're all, hey, and you're like, hey. So what we have here is a failure to coordinate, is what was going on. And so I created something called the time scheduler. And you picture there's actually, so 7 plus 1 is 8, 9 columns, 9 columns across the page. The first column is the thing. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then total. And then you just have as many lines as it takes to cover all the stuff, right? At the bottom, the 2 bottom lines before the total at the bottom, the line just before that is the new thing. And what's going to happen is when you launch a new thing, you have to figure out where you're going to take time away from the other things, because the other things all by themselves added up to 24 hours. When you put in the new thing, you have to give away some time. You have to take it back so that when you add the new thing, it's still 24 hours. So imagine if you're going to spend half an hour on the phone, half an hour texting with people about a party. Imagine after that, so that's 30 minutes, okay. And then you decide on your lunch break, you're going to go to the Christmas store. And so you are going to put your eating your lunch back to sometime that day while you're at work. You're going to go to the Christmas store because you're going to find stuff. Or you're going to go shopping because there's sales on and you're looking for that special gift. Or you're online looking, right? Let's say you use up that hour. So what you did was you sacrificed lunch. Okay, but now you're tired. Now you didn't get any fuel. So you're going to have to find a way in the middle of the afternoon to eat something more substantial than just whatever it was you were going to have for your coffee break. So that takes a little more time, which means you have to take time away from. Now, let's say there's a snow or a wind or a rain event. Let's say there's a massive accident that is near the route you take home. So your regular commute time of 20 minutes, half an hour is now double. Okay. Did you have lunch during your break or did you keep shopping? All right. So now you're tired. Now you're cranky. You get home. Are you the one who has to pick the kids up from daycare on the way home? Do you swing by the school to pick them up? Does somebody else take them and bring them? All of these things that are your normal are now mildly displaced by the new thing, which is ho, ho, ho holidays. Are you hosting this year? Have you decided on a menu? All that stuff doesn't have to all be fixed in one day, but it certainly is going to eat into the other things that you do, right? So the other thing that you want to take into consideration is the 5-question diagnostic. You know, when you go to the clinic and they take your blood pressure and they put that ice cold thing on your heart to see if your heart is beating normally. Yeah, she said, your heartbeat's a little high. Well, here, let me put an ice cube on your chest and see how you feel. So when you're looking at how to manage, how to prioritize, these 5 questions that I ask, that I pose, that I give to people to use, helps with the priorities, right? The last thing you're allowed to do in order to maintain your efficiency, in order to maintain your focus, and for heaven's sake, to maintain your health, mental, physical, and energetic. You can't not feed you. You can't not run you ragged. You can't not say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Because the quality that you bring to the table when you're tired, tired, cranky, hungry, and just plain done, your imagination doesn't work as well as it normally does. And on top of that, this clever part of your brain, the cause and effect part, doesn't make good judgments. It says, I can eat later. Yes, or you should eat now. Eat now, shop later. No, you don't understand. There's a sale. Eat now while you're shopping so that you are strong. You know why they say on an airplane, put your mask on first? Because no, I want to put on my children. Yeah, if you pass out, there's nobody looking after your children. It's as simple as that. It takes 2 seconds to put your mask and then theirs so that you don't pass out. So what we talk about with the 5 questions is pretty simple. The first question is, what does it do? So if I decide that I'm going to go shopping on my lunch hour, what does it do? It gives me a chance to shop early, but it also takes away time from my rest, reset, and eat. Okay, now we get to the second question. Who does it serve? Well, it serves gift buying you, but it doesn't serve hungry you with a family and a job and responsibilities and friends. So let's try and keep who does it serve in balance. Question number 3, what does it change? If I buy the gifts now, what does it change? It gives me some free time later to do something else. If I don't buy any gifts, what does it change? I'm Scrooge at Christmas. Okay. Why do they care? Why do they care? The people on the other end of this decision you're making. What is it going to deliver to them when you make this decision? When you decide to give up your lunch? Why do they care are your kids or your friends or your roommate, and you come home tired and cranky and you burn dinner. That's why they care. So good, I'm glad you got your shopping done, but you're lying face down on the linoleum floor. Like that's not working. And now everybody's annoyed with you and you're upset. And then the last question is, what's in it for you? If you are doing something for no other reason than you've always done it, that's not good enough, because everything changes, right? Everything changes. We always have Christmas the same. Well, no, you don't. You may cook the same meal. You may seat the same people next to the same people, but it's been a year. Okay, they came for Thanksgiving. Okay, they came for somebody's birthday. Okay, they came for an anniversary. But this is the big December holiday. And it's been a year. Everyone has changed. Everybody feels safe when they're tired, confused, uncertain, exhausted, unhappy. They feel safe when they know that when they come, it's going to be the same. So you can't spring a surprise on tired, exhausted, confused, unhappy people and expect a good result. What you can do is you can say, this year, I've had an idea. We're going to make it simpler. And then say, I'll get back to you. And when you get back and you say, so as I said, I'm going to make it simpler. I'm not going to add anything to the list. I'm going to shift a couple of things around and see if we like it. And everybody's going to say, well, why are you changing? Why are you changing? Why are you changing? Somebody who's okay says, oh, that'll be all right. Most people don't want change. And if you say, I'm doing it to make it simpler and just more about us than a bunch of stuff. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So what we all want to try to do is to remember that we have two kinds of priorities. We have the now priority. It's right now. And we have the next priority. And that's over there. Now, there's two things about a now priority, and there's two things about a next priority. And I have this conversation with my production people. I have the conversation with my clients, my colleagues. I have the conversation with people who come to my shows. And I say, you can't be in two places at the same time. You simply can't. You can't inhabit two separate spaces simultaneously. You can't ride two separate horses across a stream with any kind of... I just pictured me, right? I just pictured me trying to do that. Splash. With any degree of accuracy. So why are you trying? Well, I just don't have time, so I figured I could do it together. Yeah? How's it working? Not good. Okay. The later folder is for the next stuff. I talk about the later folder all the time. What I say to people is this. We have things on our minds that we're not going to be dealing with right now. So that our compulsive survival brain doesn't walk around muttering, don't forget the milk, don't forget the milk, don't forget the milk. Write it down. Milk. And then hold it in your other hand while you're commuting home. Milk. Oh, yeah, milk. Oh, yeah, milk. Oh, milk. Yeah. So that you'll get off at the right stop for the milk, or you'll pull the car off the highway at the right stop. Because if you don't write it down, you're going to get home, you're going to walk in the house, and you're going to go, milk. Because your survival brain doesn't drink milk, doesn't know what it is, doesn't care. So the later folder literally is how you can technically be in two places at the same time. You can get, it's a little lined folder, it's got nothing on it, just basic lines on the page. And how I use it, and I first developed it way back in the midst of time when I was teaching actors how to leave today's baggage in the car and walk into the theater totally focused on who I am now. The character I am now, the role I've been invited and paid to play. Because we cannot be two people at the same time. So we leave personal us and all the other hats us in the later folder in the car. in the later folder, in the purse, in the pocket, in the dressing room. We don't carry it on stage with it and check it every 5 minutes. The same way we don't bring our phone on stage with us, unless it's a prop, because we can only be now. And then we'll be later. And what that means is we can actually give 100% now, store to remind ourselves what the plan is, and then give 100% of this set of hats later when it's their turn to be front and center, when it's their turn to be the medium, and we need to share this message, right? So one of the things that is very difficult at any time is when you're focused on something and it's important to you, and there's noise in the background. And best tool ever, I know, right? Thank you, Maggie. Later folder, don't have it. Yes, don't leave home without it. Definitely, Freddie, don't leave home without it. So I want to talk about noise. I once wrote a very important essay. My passing grade was hanging in the balance, and I didn't want to be distracted. So I turned on the television to a football game. And I didn't have it blaring, but I had the television in the room with me where I was writing, because I don't understand football. You can tell me what a certain play is, and I go, And the minute you stop talking, my brain has erased it. So you can tell me all over again. It's like 51st dates. So I put that on in the background so I wouldn't hear noises from other apartments in the building, so I wouldn't hear noises outside the building. I wouldn't be distracted by the normal everyday, so that I could just disappear down the rabbit hole of the essay. And it was interesting, because when I turned it in, and the prof said, is the ink still wet? And I said, no, it's pretty good. 11th hour, right? Finishing it on the bus. And anyway, when he handed it back to me, he'd put a little asterisk. And when I looked at it, and I looked up at him, and he said like this. So I thought, oh, and I walked to the front, and he said, how did you do this? And I said, I put the football game on in the background. He said, that's a brilliant idea. And I said, why do you ask? And he said, it was so focused. It was so focused. There was no rambling. You were like zoned in on it. And I said, well, thank you very much. And he said, yeah. And then I looked at the grade he'd given me, and I said, wow, thank you. He said, no, you did the work. You did the work, you did the research, but then you did the execution. You have to do the research. You have to do the writing, and then you have to do the polishing. Pre-production, production, post-production. You have to be fully present for all three in order to get what you hoped to achieve. This is true in anything. And he said, do you mind if I borrow your idea? And I said, no, please do. So at one point in that school year, he said, I have some advice for you. I don't want to embarrass the student who shared it with me, but this is not a bad idea. Now, don't pick football if you're an avid football fan. If you don't care much for curling or crochet, then watch a video on that while you're writing. But give yourself permission to erase the rest of the world so that your whole focus is here. Now, the reason I say that to you, so that's a hack I used, and it's a hack I still use. I can't listen to music because I'll get caught up in the lyrics, or I'll get caught up in the, so I don't listen to music. I don't listen to the radio. I don't listen to videos going on. I will pick something that I have no focus on or interest in or conception of. So I'll get somebody talking about quantum physics. and it's just rah, 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 like Charlie Brown's teacher, right? Because I need to narrow my area of distraction. Now, the other thing I said, there's two things. There's two things for us, and there's two things for the things that are just generally going on. And the other thing is not our inability to concentrate because there's stuff. It's the distraction of the external world. And I have this conversation all the time, again with my students, again with my clients, again when we're producing a live event. And we go into a huddle before the event. And I say, why are we here? What are we doing? Who does it serve? And I go through the 5 questions, and they all stand there and laughing. I've said, no, because if I catch you not present, you're not going to be happy because I'm going to be annoying. This is a work day. It's a fun day, also a work day, because our job is entertaining and empowering and exciting the people who come to see us. You can't have your mind on something else. No cell phone activity unless you're taking a quick video of something going on for us. No cell phone activity. No conversations in the aisleway with your back to the booth, talking to somebody you know who came to the show. Bring them into the booth, introduce them to the crew, get them working. You're not on a break. They're on a break. They came to the show. You're not an audience member. You are the show. And I give them that pep talk every time, and it still happens that people get distracted. And then you'll hear somebody walking by talking about some horrific whatever that they heard on some platform through some medium, either an opinion piece, a theoretical, an actual event, issues that are causing everyone to reprioritize their strategies. Big weather alert. I had to cancel an event in November because suddenly out of nowhere there was an ice storm, and it would have not been safe to ask my speakers to drive on those roads and end up in a ditch. So recalibrate, reset, reprioritize, postpone till when? I just got a message on Facebook the other day from one of the people who'd come to a live event in July saying, so the November event was canceled. When are you going to be rescheduling? And I said, thank you so much for reaching out. It's going to be this. And he said, thank you for answering me so fast. And I said, well, we were all planning. I just didn't get back to you. And thank you. How do we stay on point is my point. And the answer lies in the 5 questions. What does it do? Here we are producing a live event. Here we are giving people a reason to feel glad that they came. They've left all their problems in their car. They've come in to be cheered up. How do we serve them? By talking about some kind of horror scenario, Armageddon. That's not what they bought their ticket for. That's not our job. And while we do that job, we're not doing our now job. So what I always say, we do the 5 questions in our huddle before the event. And the last actual question after, what's in it for me? What's in it for you? What's in it for you? I then say, is Armageddon paying you today? No? Then you're not talking about Armageddon. Is that weather disaster paying you today? No? Then you're not talking about the weather disaster. Why? They came here to not think about the weather disaster, to not think about Armageddon, to not think about all the horrors that people are imagining. They came to get away. Our job is to help them do that. And then invite them to stay. We can't do that if we are distracted. We can't do that if we have not used our later folder. We can't do that if we can't tell the difference between now and next. So, my question to you is, sometimes when we say yes because it's go along to get along, we don't really feel it. So my question is, how do you balance that dilemma? How do you take care of your now and your next? What strategy do you use? What tools? I have a hack that I use, and I want to hear. I want you to reach out. I want you to let me know what you use. I have a hack that I use that causes everybody to focus on the now. It's so obvious that people don't realize that that's what I'm doing. And they wonder how Vikings conquered the world, really. So here it is. Hang on a second. I get on the elevator. It's precipitating sideways outside. I get on the elevator to go downstairs and check the mail. Or I get on the elevator to go down and take out the garbage. Or I get on the elevator to go and get in my car and brave the fact that it's precipitating sideways. Whatever I'm doing. I get on the elevator with my purpose, and the next person who gets on the elevator gets on with their purpose. And you can kind of tell what it is if they're dressed for outside, or they're carrying garbage, or they're talking on their phone, saying, yeah, I'll be right down. We can sort of get an idea. What I do is I make a very specific question. I don't say, hey, how you doing? Because it doesn't matter what they say. The answer is subjective, and I can't really know what they mean by it. How you doing? I'm fine, and you? I have no idea what that means. Neither do they, really. They just say it. I say, so I have a question. They look up. What? Yes. Yeah. I'm just curious. I'm kind of doing a survey because, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, how's the day? And they say, oh, I'm really blah, blah. No, not you. You're awesome. How's the day on a scale of 1 to 10 so far? Oh, the day. I don't know. Actually, I guess the day itself isn't bad. It's probably an 8. And I say, wow. Well, thanks. And then sometimes I say, how is it for you? And I say, well, it was about a 7 when I got on the elevator, but this is I think this just pushed me up to a 9. And they laugh. The elevator doors open. They go their way. I go mine. I deliberately brought both of us into alignment in the now. Whatever else they were thinking immediately becomes next. Right now, they're doing a self-diagnostic. How does that work? When they realize that they're a 7 or an 8 or a 4, they know they have work to do. Sometimes I'll say, do you have a later folder? A what? Oh, I think I have a spare. Write down stuff that's bothering you and deal with it later. Good idea. Well, you don't need to. Yes, I'm sure. You know what? It was a spare. Here. Why am I doing that? I'm not Mother Teresa. Why am I doing that? I'm doing that so that my life in this building has become a community. I don't mean kumbaya past the s'mores. I mean that if there's a fire, somebody's going to say, where's the redhead? How's your day? I want people to connect. I want people to relearn how to engage. If we can relearn how to connect and how to engage each other, you know what's the automatic outcome that we don't have to do any work on? Connect and engage automatically transform. Automatically. It's a magnetic thing that happens. This, that. It's the law of polarity, also known as the law of attraction. If we are connected, if we are engaged, if we have exchanged an idea and transformed our energy, our mood, our attitude, we no longer feel forgotten. We no longer feel unimportant. We no longer feel alone. We no longer feel as lost, confused, uncertain, overwhelmed, abandoned as we did before. We belong. And when we belong, this is how it works. This belonging is what the holiday event is supposed to do. Remind us, recreate us, reconnect us. And it's a whole lot easier to do that, to achieve that, if there's already a platform in place and practice done, polishing done. So it isn't awkward and difficult for the first 15 minutes, half an hour, because you haven't seen anybody in a year. And if the last time was awkward, how do you get back to less awkward? This way. This is the gift that keeps on giving. It's a ping back. It's a perpetual ping back. How we prioritize our now and our next is remarkably simple. Everything is now until this moment has passed. If we are focused on something that isn't in this moment, that isn't in this perimeter, if it's out there somewhere, if it's probably, maybe, appears to be happening to them, that's not our now. Our now is here. Our now is thee and me. This is our time together. When this video ends, you will bring up, reconnect the next thing on your list of your things today. If you distract yourself doing this, distract yourself doing that, get your attention drifting to something over there, you're not bringing 100%. There's thee and me. If I don't bring 100% to you, you very quickly begin to wonder why you're investing your time. I love it when you guys are commenting. I love all of that because it shows me that you have made this a priority for this moment, for this time. And that's very exciting. It's very rewarding. This ABCAST is number 418. And I have prioritized my day twice a week since this began because I said I would. And the definition of success, the definition of connection, the definition of engagement, of transformation, of resilience, of happiness is consistent action repeated over time. Show up. Lean in. Give people the clear message that you are glad they came. And when this moment, our now moment, ends, we can do the next now priority, one at a time. We have the 11th, 1, 2. We have 2 weeks till Christmas, that holiday. 2 weeks till all the shopping days that we haven't had before. 2 weeks for all the people with all of their traditions, all of their faiths, all of their religions, all of their people like us do things like this. This is a busy month. This is a busy time. And for many of us who may have been accidentally set adrift, it can feel very lonely. It can feel very unhappy. It can feel very lost. But you're never lost when you're here. You're never lost when you're in this community. I am as close as click on the button to say, hey, thanks for being here. And I will send the same message back to you. Because that is why we came. Okay, I'm going to leave you for now, and I'm going to head off to the next thing that I need to do. Once this now is over, there'll be a new now. I want you to remember how magical and special this is for me and for everybody watching, that you are participating, because we are in this together, and it would just be a rehearsal without you. So thank you. It means everything, really. And you know what's fabulous? It's always the right size. It's always the perfect color. It goes with everything. It's not fattening, and you get no cavities. What could be better than that? All right. Remember the rules, right? Be good to you. You deserve it. And remember to hug your loved ones, because, oh boy,